Well, I'm doing my morning writing. I'm very sick. And of course, I'm going to leave the comments just because I want everybody to see. So, of course, everybody's on there protecting the police. Isn't that funny? We just had, well, it's not really funny, it's kind of tragic because we just had BLM here, a huge outpouring in Albany, and you have all these people standing with the police. And when I supported BLM and I was involved, not because I understood all the issues of racism, but because I was a photographer, I was into videoing, and it was very, very with protesters on the front lines and learning about journalism and reporting on a story. I was gravitated towards that to be able to make change. I hadn't been that political before BLM. I was certainly very moved by Sandra Bland, certainly with having a device this size in your hand. So I can give you the backstory on how I started following the movement, but it's pretty repugnant, all these people that had this turnout, and now they're on my page when I talk about domestic violence and the police response, which I'm questioning, which is all I'm doing is questioning and telling my story. You see them lose their minds. They're all on there lined up to support the police. Okay? We're talking about domestic violence, which the police are struggling with themselves. It's always been an issue that's been a struggle, and certainly after Me Too, which is why I started following BLM. So I will leave the comments there. Of course, the big long paragraphs about how concerned we are. You need to admit you're mentally ill, Rhonda. People need to be institutionalized again. It sounds so crazy. Oh, yes, I heard this as soon as the divorce started. I never had mental health issues. Thank God. There are people that do, and this is why I'm speaking out about it. Because if you were in a situation like this with mental health issues or a disability, or God forbid, you were struggling with an addiction, it's not against the law to have some of these things. And certainly every profession has them. When you're running prostitution rings out of the school district, nobody says anything. When we have a high incidence of suicide in law enforcement, nobody says anything. When we have repeated things in our hospitals, nobody says anything. But if somebody starts telling their story and questions some of this, then they're all going to pile on. So, I had a pretty rough night. It's pretty hopeless and depressing when people treat you like this. Certainly people you've known all your life. Certainly people that are in law enforcement that you cared about or you came in contact with or you even dated. Because yes, I dated a detective's son and I had absolutely no clue his hatred until he called me recently and made threats. Okay? And that's why I'm trying to defend myself, because I sit here now, I have no refrigerator, no stove, no place to live, and I'm on the hook for, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000, and I didn't try to scam anybody, so just stop it. I'm more than willing to pay the rent for the month as I sit here again, with everything packed. I can't get groceries and cook because I'm not going to turn on the stove when I don't know. I don't have a refrigerator. So this certainly should not be the case considering the assets I had. So I find it very interesting. And as far as the Black people involved, I want to ask you how you could possibly support people that are involved in this. Okay, because slavery is slavery, okay, regardless of who it is. It's like never again. We had to go through that with the Jewish community. Never again is for everybody because it cheapens the sacrifice of the people that were involved in the Holocaust. And it's the same thing. I've had Black people tell me, well, I've never been discriminated against. Well, guess what? Educate yourself. It's horrible. It's horrible for anybody to be confined. It's horrible for anybody to be in this kind of situation. And everybody has some sort of historical, some more, some less. You could argue different systemic issues. And again, I'm not going to go too far into racism, but certainly domestic violence is horrible too, because modern slavery, trafficking, intersect some of these issues. You're economically in a bad situation. Your housing is one of the foundations of something that's going to help you propel you forward in your life, and other considerations, transportation, your health, your ability to get a job, so on and so forth, which the person you're involved in has continually undermined, sabotaged. And certainly if you're a double winner like me and you marry someone similar to your parent, in my case it's my mother, it can be compounded. So I find it very interesting that people want to line up and go on and on about the police, certainly black people, because anybody that, talks about these issues, they pile on. So keep piling on. Keep with this idea that somebody's mentally ill. What? When they question the police department? Wow. So I might dial back a little bit on this idea that, people were complaining about BLM. Maybe some of their, perspectives have some legitimacy. Okay. So, how they say that nobody wants to believe me. Well, guess what? Maybe I will take that into consideration now. Because certainly, these people that think this is funny, that are involved in protecting these landlords and to protecting other people, certainly should check themselves, because nobody should be without housing. I'm not trying to scam anybody. And in fact, I am doing landlords a favor, because if I was a landlord and somebody was being harassed or some in danger like this, I certainly would want to figure out what was going on. I would be horrified. Be safe.